Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Pre-Match Muti. And today we've got Richard, as the Hammerhead is normally representative. We've got Dengasaurus, Denga, the Denganator. We've got Selo, Lolo Kale, the Man United representative who loves his finances. And then today we've got a special guest in the house, Mathew Murphy, all the way from Liverpool, diehard Scouser through and through, and of course, a member of the actual Liverpool Football Club. You can tell us why into detail what it is that you do. But just before we do that, just going to say get a little hello from everybody here quickly. How's everyone doing?
Are we all good? All good.
All good, bro. All good. Can't complain.
All good. All good. I see. Richard's got a haircut. Yeah. So we're all good.
Yeah, fresh. Had to get it done. Fresh cut, lads. You know how it is.
Right, Matty. How's it going? How's the weather there in Liverpool, man?
All good. Thanks for having us, by the way. The weather's okay at the moment. We had 20 degrees on Tuesday. We're dropping back down to 9. So it's slowly but surely getting back to normal weather back, over in the UK. But no, we're all good. We're all good. The weather's okay. It's better than normal.
That's good, man. That's good. Matty, guys, just so you know, to get Matty on the show, we had to submit questions prior to actually putting them together because the Liverpool PR had to actually approve the questions that we ask him. So for the first half, what we're going to do is we're going to have a little bit of a Q&A sort of session with Matty, and we're going to ask the questions that we have sent through. And then afterwards, we'll free flow like we normally do, where we discuss the coming fixtures of the weekend Premier League games. So without further ado, Matty, please let everyone know what it is that you do at Liverpool and who it is that you are and how it is that you've become the man that it is that you are. I don't even know if that makes sense.
Man. You need to get a bit better on those lines, man. Please, come on.
Jeez Louise, it's been a long day. I'm not going to lie.
I'll tell you what, it was a pretty grand introduction without actually being an introduction, wasn't it, Claudio? No, as I say, so first, as I've said before, thanks for having us on. To give a bit of context about myself at the moment, I'm currently Liverpool Football Club's Foundation Disability Coordinator. So that's the charity part of the football club. You'll see a lot, especially within the lockdown over in the UK. A lot of the work that the football.
What happened with the sound?
Can everyone hear him? Matty,
No.
We've lost you. We've lost you.
We lost the sound.
Just me.
Oh, he's back? No, he's gone. Oh, it's nothing like a little bit of a technical issue when we're doing a live stream. That's just how these things go, unfortunately. There. Are you back, Matty?
You're back?
Yes.
The internet keeps dropping in and out, so I'll try and speak quick. So I basically at the moment provide sporting opportunities for for children and adults around the city with disabilities and additional needs. So the way I've got to there is I started out, just your normal grassroots football coach, wanting to go a little bit further after dropping out a sort of, I had fits and starts within football clubs. The last, the one of 15 was Accrington Stanley, which if anyone's seen the famous advert with Ian Rush on, will know Accrington Stanley, especially at the time I was there, was sort of bottom of the barrel League Two. But I wasn't there for very long, let's put it that way. There was no real career, but I wanted to stay in football. From that, I was fortunate enough then, the first sort of engagement with Liverpool was at 19. So I represented the Football Club's International Academy. So I travelled far and wide. I was fortunate enough to drop into South Africa a few times as well. And be able to bring Liverpool to all four corners of the globe. And as someone who's, I can look out of my window now and I can see the arches of the main stand. I'm pretty fortunate to be able to represent the football club, and since the age of 19, and I'm getting on a bit now, to be able to represent the football club that I follow home and away. So through that, I've had experiences of playing with some games with the legends. I've had experiences of traveling to the likes of Malawi, and I've had some unbelievable experiences where I've been fortunate enough to be able to say that I represent, and I'll argue till the day I die, that Liverpool are the best football club in the world, and I've been able to represent them. And now I do a job, right That's on the doorstep of my own home. Sorry for the rest of you, but it is true. Still the most successful football club in our country anyway.
I had to just like a bit of couldn't man. Some of the stuff that you're saying, I had to like
just take it with a pinch of salt, Selo.
Yeah, I have to,
Matty.
man. I guess he has to be biased. Matty has to be biased, but it's okay. I understand. Last time we had a Liverpool coach on here, a former Liverpool coach that supports Man United, so he knows what's going on. So yeah.
So don't worry, there's no changes from me. I'll tell you that now. I can't even argue at West Ham because the only time I've been down there, we lost in the FA Cup. We had Ogbonna last minute in extra time.
Oh, that
It was
header
all set
from
for
Payet's
penalties.
cross.
Yeah, last time we played at the playing ground. Not for me. Not when you've got a 4-hour journey back up to Liverpool on a Tuesday, Wednesday night on an FA Cup replay or whatever it was. They're not the journeys you want to have after you've lost. But no, I think in a roundabout way, and also sort of finding out that I've had not a great luck going away to West Ham. That's pretty much me.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the standard. And you've mentioned you've made your trip out to South Africa. I don't know how you met or how you found some of the South Africans down here, Matty. But Christy, one of the ones that you did find, Christy Jade Cunningham says, you're welcome, and she's sending a lot of warm weather your way. So that's a little
we need it.
Yeah.
We need
Wonga, do you want to go ahead and ask the questions that you submitted, and then we can see what Matty has for you from that side?
Yeah, I mean, I'll also, because Nick is not, I'll also read one of his one was, and I was also interested in it. What your role as the disability coordinator of the LFC Foundation? What does it entail? What do you do, and what does that disability foundation do as well? What is their purpose?
Oh, we
can't hear you, eh? Was it just
sound
went again.
Not yet.
I think when this happens, let's troubleshoot this, guys. When this happens, let's beatbox. Can you beatbox there, Rich?
Have you got me back?
Yeah, we got you back.
Yes, you're back.
It's my signal. Apologies.
Nah, it's all good.
Somebody next door must be taking our internet signal. No, so to start with the foundation, basically the aim of the foundation is the sort of strapline for us is to create life-changing opportunities for children and families within the city and even further afield. So we do many things. So it's whether we coach mainstream football, we tackle youth and antisocial behaviour. We work, as I do, in disability sport. We have a dedicated, women and girls programme to be able to provide sporting opportunities in many different fields. We also support schoolwork, whether that's primary school and secondary school. So you've got your 6-year-olds up to 11, and then 11, 12, all the way up to 18 and for, beyond. So basically, the foundation's not solely a football organisation; it's an organisation for good. If that makes a bit more sense. Then you go to my specific role. So as a disability coordinator, my day-to-day role at the moment is to be able to, first of all, sustain the delivery that we do at the moment. So I have a small coaching team which deliver football sessions mainly, but there is a multi-sport aspect where we will do other sports, whether cricket, tennis, or basketball, adapted sports as well, the likes of bocce, which is similar to bowling, seated basketball, seated volleyball. We do all different types of sports to be able to tailor to different additional needs and disabilities and impairments. A lot of it recently has gone online. So we've been doing a lot like yourselves now, which has been spot on, being able to listen to bits of the shows that you've done. We've done a lot of, delivery via Zoom, Microsoft Teams, or, all the other different varying online platforms to be able to just bring opportunities to play and socialise for our participants.
Maddie, sorry, Wonga. I just wanted to ask, how committed is the UK in general to promoting disabilities in football, for example?
I think, especially from where I am now, is I've worked in disability sport around, even when I was working at the academy. So when I worked with the young age groups at the academy, I was working in disability sport as well. And I think rather than highlighting the disability, for me, is football especially is for all. So it doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, colour, creed, what have you. Football's for everybody, and there's ways and means in which for everybody to play football in some form. So for me, it's basically a case of rather than promoting the disability, it's promoting that football. What football is. It's you'll see yourselves. You'll see there's many different types of football, different ways of football, especially what we do. Like my most exciting form of delivery that I do through the week is wheelchair football. It's unbelievable, great game. The standard, you want to see some of the skills and talents that some of the wheelchair footballers I've coached have got, being able to manage a chair, manage what they do on the pitch, manage how they travel, who else is on the pitch. It's unbelievable. If you were to watch it, and see, you'd be pretty amazed.
Oh, that's amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah. That's proper.
Yes, no, I mean, yeah. Go ahead. Sorry, Wonga.
Yeah. No, I'm thinking. I saw a couple of times on Instagram where they were doing, they were playing soccer with the blind people, and then some people weren't blind, but they also went and they blindfolded themselves. But geez, some of the things, like, I don't know if they put sounds or anything, but yeah, some of the stuff I saw there, I couldn't believe it. I would probably be behind the goals if I had to put blindfolds on. But yeah, it's actually quite interesting.
Use the sensors. Use the sensors, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
But Matty, how's COVID affected your role? I know obviously it must have affected it a lot, because obviously the professional level is what is allowed to continue, but the development or amateur levels are the ones that are not allowed to obviously continue. And I think it's only now that they've allowed people to go to sports grounds and so on. I think last week I saw people going back to fields and running around and playing golf and all other kinds of sports.
Yeah, so I think like everybody, COVID's affected sport in all kinds of ways. I think specifically back home is a lot of our delivery and a lot of my role went on Zoom and Microsoft Teams, so went video calls and what have you. The effect for this is from my point of view now, is that a lot of the people I work with either can't or don't have the capability to access the way we're accessing this call now. So we had to sort of reinvent ourselves as to how we could deliver. We were fortunate enough that we were still delivering to the majority of our participants via Zoom, but it become more social. So again, similar to yourselves, having a show like this, being able to converse with other people, that's what we done. We reinvented ourselves by doing things like fantasy football and set up our own, but really it was in disguise of being able to have a conversation with people who we'd see weekly playing football. And I think for my personal role, as the social aspect was the big one. Now for other programs that we have, it become where the reinvention was, everything was sort of ball mastery based. So by that, it was you on your own, just working on different skills, moving the ball with both feet, very much technical rather than the sort of physical and tactical sides of the game, which was a benefit, because there was nothing else really. You couldn't go out, as you just said there, is we only were just allowed out to play football in terms of grassroots on Monday, and that's only outdoor sport. So a lot of five-a-side indoor sport can't happen for, I think it's maybe the next month or two. So it's, I think you'll see COVID, the big effects being the mental health, you know what I mean, in terms of routine. Especially I work with a lot of autistic children and adults where, routine's key and routine's being shattered. And, we've sort of had to I keep saying reinvent, but we've also had to reinvent the routine and we have done, but it's taken a long time to do. And let's be honest, the day we can finally all get out globally, the better.
Yeah. Jeez, man. But that's tricky. Just like you said, the routine part, and especially when someone's used to going outside and all of a sudden they're restricted within the homes and now the responsibility is falling on the parents' side. I mean, that makes it very, very tricky just to make sure that the kids are doing stuff. But Matt, I want to ask you, I mean, you're doing something very few people get to do. In a sense, you're living out your dream. You've grown up being a diehard Liverpool fan. You've been with Liverpool for 10 plus odd years, from whether, like you said, you coached as a lead coach there in Dubai from the International Academy. You made your way to South Africa. How does one who isn't from the UK or from Liverpool become or get the chance to become a Liverpool coach, if that makes sense, if they were aspiring to do the things that you're doing? Beatbox, guys. It's cute for beatbox.
Sound went again.
Listen, Matt, you really shouldn't be having the problems, your Wi-Fi problems you're having there, man. We're living in South Africa here. We've got load shedding. We've got beatboxes. What's going on there?
Does he know what load shedding is?
Oh, he's back.
I'm back.
Yes.
It's not so much the internet. It's that there's that many people on the internet because there's a few people back home here. There's about 3 or 4 different devices from everybody. That's what it is.
Okay. That makes sense.
Claudio, again, I'll try and speak quick, but apologies because in this accent, speaking quick becomes difficult to understand.
It's hard enough here listening to Jamie Carragher. Now we have to, but we've learned how to listen to him. So we'll learn how to listen to you.
It's fine. I've listened to Aaron Cresswell speak more than enough, so I've got used to it. So it's all good.
He's from Kirby as well, I think. So his accent's strong. I'm sure Claudio can rustle up some subtitles somewhere along the way for when it goes out.
That's cool, yeah.
You're gonna make me work overtime there, man. Come on, make me pull an all-nighter. Jeepers.
You asked for it. This is you that asked for it. No, I think from that perspective, I was very fortunate. You know what I mean? I think you'll all agree that once you start playing football as a young kid and you support a team, that's you wake up every morning wanting to play for them. And I wasn't fortunate enough to play for Liverpool. Like I went to school with John Flanagan, who was fortunate enough to play games for Liverpool, playing under Kenny Dalglish. Kenny Dalglish is my hero. Although I wasn't old enough to watch him play live, he was the one who my dad, my uncle, and all that loved. So he was the player who I sort of idolised. Now, you get to 19 and all of a sudden you're wearing a Liverpool strip and you're travelling far and wide. You're also working with who hopefully will become the future talent of the football club, and you're going, how have I got to this point? There's a lot of hard work goes into it. Where there's if you're looking formalities, you're looking coaching badges, you're looking hard hours out on on the pitch, whether it's with grassroots teams, whether it's in organisations, clubs, what have you. It's basically hard work pays off. The same advice that players will be getting, it's the same for coaches. Hard work pays off, and I'm not like I'm not blowing smoke up myself or nothing, but I had to work hard, and I'm very hard to work for a football club like Liverpool. It's not even with the fan head on. It's a big football club in itself in its own right, and you've got to be the right type of person to represent what the football club represents, and to be able to work for the football club coming up to 10 years is quite an achievement. But also, I wouldn't want to do anything else because, again, as you alluded to, Claudio, it's sort of a dream to work for Liverpool for me personally, just like it be, for West Ham for yourself, Richard. And then we've got, if I'm right in saying, Arsenal and Man United, which I don't know who'd want to work for Man United, but now when he
exactly, I agree with you, Matty. Don't worry.
Come on, guys.
I've got a couple of good mates at Man United, to be fair, who do good work. So, I'm only having the digs because obviously the rivals on the pitch.
Matty, if we're going to keep it on the pitch, we've got a question here saying, because obviously the post, the one of the posts that we put out of you was a picture of you and Klopp, and we've got a question from Jason saying, what was it like meeting him when you first met him?
Well, first of all, he's a lot taller than he looks on telly, and he looks tall on the telly.
That picture, I'm like, is Matt short or is Klopp tall?
He's tall and he's slouching there as well, to be fair. But no, when I first met, so I've met him a couple of times. The first one was the photo that I sent over. We were
Beatbox, let's get it going. Boom, 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 boom. Wonga, where's your beatbox, bro? Come on now.
I don't know that stuff.
But also, guys, what would you do if you met Klopp? Even you there, Silo, if you were a United fan and you met Klopp, what would you do?
No, I would say, can I get a photo?
Like Matt did.
Yeah, I'd ask for a photo. He's a football legend, not just the clubby coaches is relevant. I think he can appreciate the ability as a coach. So same thing with Pep. great coaches. You know what I mean? And you gotta respect the stuff that they've done at their respective clubs currently and the clubs that they've coached before.
I just love his character. I love his character. I can just imagine that he'd be a top lad, absolute top lad to be around. You can just see he's super
Only
friendly.
Rich, guys. Only Rich would probably meet Klopp and say, "You're a top lad." Eh?
I'd say he's a top lad, and I have a beer with him.
You're a ledge.
He's a ledge there, Klopp. Right, Matt. Let's get back to what you were saying about Klopp there.
Apologies. So when I met him, we were doing an event for local journalists. So you'll have seen that. I think you'll have seen online, especially you, Claudio, the likes of James Pearce, and the like. We're up, and we were doing a visual impairment awareness session. So just to sort of give an understanding to the local journalists as to what VI football is, how it works, the different rules. But what they didn't know and what we knew is that Jürgen was coming for the last 5 minutes while he were doing blindfolded penalties. And he walked in and you almost felt his presence. It was a bit not airy as such, but how do you approach the man? Because this is the man who, he's been successful before us. He's come to Liverpool and automatically hit it off. He's called himself the normal one, and sort of having a bit of not a dig at what Mourinho said years back, but sort of his own sort of twist. But I think Liverpool fans loved him from then, and then myself being a big red, and he walks in, it was sort of wow. Then he walks in, he's laughing at the other journalists, taking penalties, just having fun, just as if he was one of you or I. And then I've asked him the question. I said, Jürgen, will you take a penalty? And he took his glasses off and threw the blindfold on before I'd finished the sentence. And the process for taking a penalty in VI football is you tap the posts and the crossbar so that the person coming to take the penalty knows where to aim due to, obviously the sensory, the stronger senses that they use, obviously the hearing. So but before the post had even been hit, Jürgen's finished it, celebrated, and then lifted his blindfold up just to check that he'd scored, and just went to use glasses anyway. And it just settled everybody else. And afterwards, I think, as I say, I'm one of the few who's I can boast that I've had a Jürgen Klopp hug. And to be fair, his arms got wrapped around you twice again, as he's that big, and he was just, I think the best way to put it, as much as you see him as a sort of a figure of authority, a figure of power within a football club, he was just like anyone else. And it was a great person to speak to and be around. And to, the photo that I got there, I think you can tell by the cheesy grin on my face, is I was quite happy with that photograph. And to be fair, it becomes even more powerful now that he's won the trophies that he's won for us. And, in terms of the league trophy and all that, I think he can do no wrong in any of our eyes, to be fair.
It's so refreshing to hear that, honestly, because, having done what he's done and achieved the most amazing things that he has, the fact that he can still come down to a training session like that and, be so friendly with everyone, it says a lot about the man. So, I've got a lot of respect for him after hearing something like that. It's fantastic to hear that he's got that in his locker. That's awesome.
Proper.
Yeah. We've got another question coming here, Matt, from Scott, who's asked, and Scott actually is not too far from you. I mean, for us, it's quite far, but for you, Scotland might still be a distance if you had to walk there. But I mean, it's a quick ride there. I mean, you've taken a bus to Madrid, so going to Scotland's pretty easy. But he's asked, what has been the biggest influence in your career and why? Wonga, what's been the biggest influence in your career?
In my career?
Yeah.
Emil Smith-Rowe. That's why I put him in team of the year.
Emil Smith-Rowe. Wow.
That's it. I'm back. Have you got me?
Yeah, you're back.
I do like Emil Smith-Rowe, by the way. I think he's a decent little footballer, to be fair.
But the question though, Matt,
I'll give you that.
But is it good enough to make the Premier League All-Star 11 for this season, Smith-Rowe? Is he good enough?
He's not played enough games. I think that's sort of what I'd say. He's not played
Thank you, Wonga.
Thank you, Manny.
But he's a talent.
Wonga, you see.
Keep the peace.
What about who did he bring? Fabinho, can he make centre-back, the centre-back 11, best 11 for the league? Can he do it?
the simple answer for me
No
is
bias here.
definitely.
Did you hear that? He said yes, definitely. One
That's
word.
what
We
I
got
was
it.
gonna
That's
say.
it.
Yes. Matt's always gonna say
He's
yes.
the wrong
Guys,
person
come
to
on.
ask. He's the wrong person to
Ah,
ask.
man. It's the wrong person to ask, man.
I think it's exactly the right person to ask. But Matt,
No,
let's hear
no.
that question. The influence in your career and why.
I don't think I could single out one. I think the biggest influence would obviously be, you know, the passion I have for football. You know, I think there's a lot of people out there who've got a passion for football, but I sort of got to an age where I never wanted to drop out of football. I always wanted to do some form of football as a job, and you know, coaching was that perfect role. It was you know, it's second to playing, isn't it? And in terms of influences of people who I worked with, there was I took a lot of, you know, a lot of stuff from grassroots coaches who I worked with, because yeah, the coaching sessions that those grassroots coaches that I was managed by and worked with, you know, may not have been Premier League standard or academy standard or what have you, but the way in which they treated people, the way in which they treated us as kids and young adults was quite special. I think then when I started to move into working with Liverpool, there was names sort of the likes of Adam Flynn, who works in America, Mike Yates, who still works with Liverpool, were two people who I was fortunate enough to work with when I was starting out at the International Academy at Liverpool. Then you've got the likes of Claudio Knows and Godfrey, and then I worked with some good coaches like the likes of Oki, who was on, and then you've got a lot of other.
That was
people
Chris, by the way. In case you guys missed that, that was Chris Oki. That's who he was talking about.
I remember the Wigan man. The Wigan man.
The Wigan man.
Yeah.
But I was fortunate enough to work with a lot of good coaches whose names people probably don't know. You know what I mean? You know, I think the experience also shaped, you know, and big for me, you know, being able to go and coach in Dubai and see what was different, being able to coach in South Africa, see what was different, to work with different talents, to work with going into countries with language barriers. That's another big one, I think. And again, you'll all laugh, is that more or less every foreign country I've been to, they've had to translate from Scouse to English to their local tongue. So, you know, it's quite a difficulty. And then, you know, but to be able to do that, them experiences have shaped where I am now. So you know, they were the big things for me. I think there was not so much people; it was more experiences and the accent.
And to those of you online watching us live right now, just give us a rating from 1 to 10 on how hard it is to actually listen or translate the Scouse accent. Celo, you've got 2 questions that you've written down that were actually approved. Why don't you give them a go there, man?
Yeah, no, I think I already asked one of them already. And then who's the most talented player that you've coached?
So I think in terms of talent, it's been alluded to in a few questions, but I was fortunate enough even before I worked for Liverpool to work with Curtis Jones at the age of 7. And I think it's showing now at 18, 19.
Wow.
And he's some talent. But even at that age, he was confident enough to say that he'd be there. I remember asking him a question and I'll...
Wait, you went quiet. You went quiet again. Just at the sweet spot, man. The sweetest spot. You know what I mean?
From 1 to 10, guys, what would you give Curtis Jones right now at 19 years old, 20? I mean, he's
10.
got in a lot of games this season. You give him a 10.
10.
Now I'll give him an 8. I'll give him an 8.
I give him an 8 as well.
I think he's definitely one of the best English up and coming midfielders. Definitely. I was looking at the starting lineups for the under-21 games, and the first 2 games he didn't start. He came off the bench, and he only started yesterday's game. And he scored and he got a red card. But you know what I mean? I was like, why isn't he starting? You know, they were starting the Evertonian kid Davies, Tom Davies, and I forgot who else they were starting in the midfield. But yeah, they've got so many good players.
Yeah, but that was a shock of them going out, eh?
Yeah,
I didn't expecting the 21s to go out so quickly.
The guy needs to get fired, yeah. But Matt, as you think,
I'm back again.
Matty's back.
But I think so. As I say, you know, I asked him the question, what's being said to you up at the academy? And he basically went, if I carry on playing if I carry on doing as I am, I'll make it. You know, I'll play first team, and it's a bit like at 7 years of age. Wow, you know, and that's ultimate belief in his ability. Sure. And I think, you know, he was so good. It was both feet. He was comfortable on the ball. He could move. He could twist. He could turn. He could do everything. He was playing at the age of 7. He was playing against the older boys and girls in school, and very much more or less the best player there. And I was fortunate enough to be able to play a very, very, very tiny part in his early learning. And then I think it's an achievement of any footballer who gets from the age he did at the academy, at any academy or any centre of excellence, to get to first team. And I think, although we've had injuries this season, Liverpool were quite blessed with talented midfielders. And for him to be able to play the amount of games he's had both last season and this season is, again, testament to that ability. And it's great to see him. It's sort of it puts a smile on your face when you see him walk onto the pitch, whether it's he's on the touchline coming on off the bench or whether he's starting games. And plus, the other thing that must be big for him is wearing Stevie's old number in 17. So it's a bit of a fairy tale, isn't it? So
yeah,
Curtis is the one that I've worked with who you'd know who I'd say was about the best.
Awesome.
That's great. And then in terms of the Premier League as a whole, who excites you right now in the Premier League across the whole Premier League?
I think there's quite a few. I know Wonga's mentioned the likes of Emile Smith-Rowe if he plays more games.
Hey, look at Wonga. Wonga's chuffed to that one, Matt. He's like, yeah, boy. Yeah, boy.
I like. For me now at the moment, I think. I'll mention the West Ham lad as well. I know he's not a young talent, but Thomas Souček, wherever the West Ham are from, what a player. I won't be mentioning United players though. I can't bring myself to say.
That's fine. That's fine, Matty. You can stay, mate. That's fine.
But I think everyone will look at the likes of Phil Foden. You look at again, and I'm not blowing smoke up West Ham, but Declan Rice in midfield, really good midfielder. But the one player for me, which I love watching at the moment, Jack Grealish, because I think he's just a breath of fresh air to football in general. The tricks and skills that he does, I think if he was playing in La Liga or he was playing, even with a team like PSG in France, people would be raving about him. Yeah. I think he's brilliant. I think he's technically gifted both feet. There's a swagger about him. He's everything modern football sort of is. And you see some of the chances he creates, the passages of play he starts, and the goals he scores. He'd be the one. I enjoy watching most.
Matty, do you think that he needs to at times stay on his feet more often, or do you think he gets a bit of bad stick sometimes from fans and the press and stuff like that when it comes to going to ground?
It's a difficult one because I think there's a lot of footballers who are easy to go down, but then at times should go down and don't. And
yeah,
guys, but do you think Jack Grealish is staying at Aston Villa end of the season? Do you think he's there end of the season?
What? Is it staying at Aston Villa in the season?
No, I'm asking. Do you think he's leaving, or do you think they're keeping him somehow?
But the thing is that he signed a new contract last season, right?
It's going to take a lot of money to get him to go.
And obviously, we don't know what was said to him to keep him at the club. So sometimes these deals are done with the agents. The agents say, okay, listen, we signed this contract for 5 years or whatever, but if we get an offer of 60, 70 million, whatever it is, a value, they put a value on it and say 60, 70 million, then you can leave. And I think it's probably one of those. But the problem is, who's going to spend that kind of money on one player right now in this market? You're trying to cost cut. You know what I mean?
Can you guys not see him going to the likes of a PSG? I know Matt's already said, he's like, listen, if the lad goes to PSG, technically they got the cash. Could you imagine seeing him strut his stuff there in Paris? I think all of a sudden he becomes a world beater, and he'll rip that league a new one, I reckon. I don't know. Sorry, Matt, but you were saying just before you got cut off there.
Again, apologies with the sound issues. I think in terms of the question being about does he go down too easy, does he not? As I said, he works in small spaces, so he's very much, when you see him on the ball, he's comfortable trying to play in between 2 and 3 players. Now that's going to come with sort of your potential to take bumps, to take knocks. The other thing is you don't realise how fast the players are going. You know what I mean? So the speed the players are going, the tiniest of touch, which may seem like somebody's gone down because for no apparent reason, or that they're trying to gain advantages or stuff like that.
Matt, you sound like a modern football fan and modern English football fan. I feel like if we got to go like back 10 years, everyone would say this is ludicrous. But you know what? You could do really well in the Liga right now. You just come up with a thesis explaining why players go down. I love it. Thank you.
It explains why Mo Salah always goes down. It explains very much why he goes down.
Explains why he's also top goal scorer still in the league.
And Maddie, why is it that every single time you guys play us at the London Stadium, Mo Salah scores on the break from our corner? It's happened like the last 3 times now. I'm pulling my hair out. Like, will we ever learn? It just keeps happening. It's so frustrating. He's deadly.
It's a shame he keeps getting in behind Aaron Cresswell as well. And I do like Aaron Cresswell, but I don't know whether it's just because he likes Liverpool that he's allowing Mo in. You might have to have a word with Mr. Cresswell.
Yeah, I think I might. But he's had a great. Cresswell's actually had a great season this season. In fairness, I think he's been great. So fair play to the lad. I think he's got the most assists of any defender in the league. So showing some good form, which is great. Great to see for us. The Skulls is doing the business for us. Love to see it.
But the question around Cresswell though, does especially we've touched on this before, guys. Like when players get selected for the international squad, generally speaking, they follow form, right? So should his name not be? I know one position that England or positions England are blessed with are fullbacks, but should he not be thrown into the mix at the moment for the Euros at the left back position? I don't know what everyone's thoughts are regarding that.
They take two left backs, and Southgate will pick the guy who he's been picking, which is Chilwell, and then obviously now the person that's come into form is Shaw. So it's between Shaw and Cresswell basically. Because Chilwell seems like is the first choice because he started against Poland yesterday. That's what it seems like.
I think if you're in form, sorry, Rich. I think if you're in form, you've got to be considered, haven't you? But
true.
I think just as certain players are coming into form, the players who were already there are in form as well. I think if you're looking at Chilwell, may have been the one at one point which you'd have looked at dropping out because of Tuchel's preference on fullbacks, but. He's fought his way back into Chelsea's side after a brief spell out, and again I'll put it there. I'm no England fan. I'm more, if I'm anyone, I'm the Republic of Ireland, and let's be honest, their form's not great in any way, shape or form. So I can't even go on talking about our players in that sense. But in terms of England, I think there's positions which they're blessed with players in. They like fullback. There's positions where they're blessed with players in terms of going forward as well, and. Or players that play in in the number 10 role. You know what I mean? Maddison, Grealish, Sterling, Foden. There's England are blessed with players, but go on. Sorry.
Interesting thing when you're saying that you're a Republic Island fan. How do you feel about England taking Rice and Grealish?
Declan Rice. Wow.
well, it's a change from us taking English players anyway, isn't it? So.
That's true. Yeah. That's very true. No, it's actually interesting, man. I think these guys one moment they're playing, under 15s for Republic of Ireland or Scotland or whatever it is, and then next thing they decide to change allegiances, which is I guess it's what happens in modern day football. It happens a lot, and we shouldn't be surprised.
No, definitely.
Yeah. Guys, seeing as we're on the international topic, and we had a very interesting call on Tuesday where we spoke about the significance and the importance of having youth players within the international setup. Mathew, with regards to where England are at now, and you've mentioned a lot of positions in the number 10 sort of position, and we got the fullbacks there. In terms of where they rank, I mean, currently, I think one of their best international rankings now. Are you very optimistic about the future of England with the current crop of youngsters coming through?
I think you've got to be. I think you look at the amount of the clubs, especially top 6 now, have got English players playing and young English players playing. We're fortunate with the likes of at centre half Joe Gomez when he's being fit. You've got Curtis Jones playing further forward. Then you've got Man City with Sterling and Foden. You've got United with Luke Shaw. Even I know obviously due to injuries and that, but you've got the keeper Dean Henderson. You've got Maguire. The top sides, the top 6 sides, even current top 6 sides will go with, are blessed with English talent. So if you're an England fan, you should be quite enthusiastic about England's chances. But the way England seem to do things is and it's something my dad always says, is they always snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. So, it's very much, if England could sort of, click into action and play as the players suggest they could play, then they've got chances. But it's that key thing is gelling, playing together. I think Germany, a case in point, Germany always start in tournaments terribly and then all of a sudden end up semi-finals, final, and usually end up running away with the trophy. But, with England qualifying, the qualifying games, they're brilliant. And then all of a sudden they get to certain, to latter parts of tournaments. And, for whatever reason, it just doesn't work out. And
they must just avoid the Portuguese and they'll be fine, Matthew.
Well, with Jota the Slaughter, mate, yeah, definitely.
I haven't heard that one before. That's quality.
That's quite cool. Yeah, he's been on form. He scored 4 goals in international break. He's been on hot form. And that obviously bodes well for Liverpool coming into the weekend against Wonga and his Arsenal.
Yeah, we might as well talk about that one now. The Arsenal versus Liverpool game. I mean, we do have Wonga who says some factual things from time to time. Matthew, what do you think is going to happen here this weekend rather? I mean, we need to catch up for the top 4 spot, the Champions League position there. Catch Richard's men.
West Ham are in good form, and although we seem to, we did, give them a bit of a doing. Like, we won't bring that up though, will we, Rich? No, but
don't remind me, please.
I think in terms of the game at the weekend, though, it's probably an hard one to judge because our Arsenal on the day are really good, but when they're not on the day, it can be absolutely anything. I think same can be said for us this season. I think if both teams turn up, it'll be a great game. Arsenal Liverpool games in the past have always produced goals. Whether it's 4-4 and Arshaven's getting 4, or whether there's been 5-1s recently. There's goals in the game. It's just what teams turn up. I always believe if Liverpool come in and and play the way that we can play and we have done consistently season, for the last God knows how many seasons, 3-4 seasons, we beat anybody. But it's been difficult this season, and anything can happen.
Wonga, what's your take on it?
No, I agree with Matt. The thing is, with Arsenal as well, you just don't know what to expect. But with that being said, I mean, we've come a long way. I mean, when we were I was 16th. I think Liverpool were first or second. I can't remember. But you guys are up there, and now, I mean, we're closer to each other now. But we're mid-table, and Liverpool is in definitely a position that they don't want to be in. But my biggest concern is our defense. If Liverpool fire, if Sadio Mane, Firmino, and Salah are doing what they usually do, I can't see us.
Jota will be starting, man. Jota has to start.
Yeah.
Jota has to start.
Actually, Cyril, that's a good question.
Jota's on form.
Yeah.
Four goals in 3 games of international break. He has to start.
Matthew, what's your take on that in terms of Jota coming in on form? We've got Firmino, who's obviously we all can see he hasn't had the best of seasons. How do you think Klopp manages this situation? Is this like an end of an era for Firmino? We're going to start looking elsewhere, or how do you think he handles all of this?
I'm going to have to try and sit on the fence, if anything, because I like both players, but it's a difficult one. I think you've only got to look at, I still believe, and it may sound like a biased opinion, but the 4 strikers we've got at the moment are top class. And you look at the role that Jota plays and the role that Firmino plays are 2 completely different roles in a sense. Firmino's not your out-and-out number 9. Although he wears number 9 on the back of his shirt, you look at where he picks up the ball. He picks up the ball more or less 10 yards deeper than a number 9 would. But he causes all kinds of problems for holding midfielders and centre-halves, because the holding midfielder doesn't know whether they should drop, and the centre-half doesn't know whether he should come and get him.
Yep.
But in saying that, you then look at Jota, who picks up great spaces in the areas between full-backs and centre-backs. It's sort of, which I think the one thing you're going to be thinking about is which one hurts Arsenal the most. And, whoever he goes with on Saturday, I'm confident that they'll do a good job for us.
Well, how does that make you feel, seeing as you opened with Arsenal? Is the defense is where you worried?
No, I even probably Klopp and them they know that, look, if they can just keep on putting pressure on the defense, there's probably something's going to get through there. Tierney as well, been very good this season, but the last game, who did we play against now?
Us. Wasn't it the 2-2?
Yeah, it was West Ham. Yeah, he was the first goal conceded.
Yeah, that one.
First goal conceded. He's the one, he gave it away. And I'm pretty sure, I never looked it up, but I'm pretty sure the last 6, I'm going to stretch and say 7 games we've played, we've literally conceded first in the Premier League. Because I've watched, we've conceded, and then we decided to come back. Or we've watched, concede, and then we lose, So it just depends. And that's how Liverpool are also vulnerable. That's the nice thing as well. And I think we do have players too. You got Aubameyang, Saka, Smith Rowe, and one player I think they should play, who hasn't played a lot and I know he got injured is Martinelli. I think Martinelli for me is also a player who can also cause problems. Unfortunately, he's got injuries, and I think they're just trying to manage that at the moment. But I think he could also be a problem if they're starting Pepe. I don't know.
I was watching a video today on Instagram of Sadio Mane's goal at the Emirates when he cut in from the right-hand side and bent one into the top left corner. And the way that we played against Arsenal last week, we got a lot of joy down the flanks. So I think that's definitely an area that Liverpool will have to exploit if they're going to get a positive results.
I missed that goal that you were talking about. We were I was coaching in Norway at the time, and we were on a ferry.
Coaching Holland. Were you coaching Holland? Just tell everyone that's what you were doing.
Listen, I've just seen a clip that the Norwegian international side put out about him in the top corner in training. So if I can claim I've taught him that, then I should be much higher. No,
man, Matty, I claim the Emery Chan goal when he did the bicycle.
Yeah.
I claim that goal and the Giroud volley the other day because I worked with both of them on the mat and we did the volleys. That's all. I'm claiming it, so you can claim the Haaland thing. But as you were saying.
No, we were not. So we seen Mane chop inside, and we were using some of these hotspots on the phone to watch the game. And as he chopped inside and the ball, he's obviously swung his foot back to hit it. The signal went. Completely missed the goal.
Worst possible timing.
And what a finish it was. I know
was it worst timing or was it the ferocity of the shot that just cut the signal? It could have been both. I don't know. Yeah. But Matty, let's talk about, when I met you in Madrid, you had some interesting fan sort of travel stories. What's the sort of craziest thing you've experienced when going to watch a Liverpool game?
Now I'm trying to think. There's been a few because I think a lot of Liverpool fans do planes, trains, and automobiles to get to European away games. I've been as far as Qatar to watch them in the Club World Cup. I've been as close as Heart to Midlothian up in Scotland. So there's a few, but I think Madrid would be the craziest one because we were silly enough to decide that we'd go on a minibus, which had no working windows and no air conditioning. And we'd travel from. I think we left. The game was the Saturday. We left on the Wednesday, I think it was, and travelled all the way through from England all the way down south to Dover through France and into Madrid with a stopover near San Sebastian. And don't get me wrong, I wouldn't change the trip for the world, but I'll tell you now, I'll never do another minibus to a match that far away ever again in my life. But I think the year before, because I've been working and couldn't get time off work up until just before the game, I paid a lot of money to fly direct to Kiev. And unfortunately, there was disappointment in the game, although the trip was brilliant. So Madrid was a real experience. And anyone in the right mind will not travel to a football game for that length of time on a bus. I'm trying to think of the other experiences. I remember my first European away game was against Udinese. Henderson scored. In the Europa League back in 2012, and we flew from Manchester to Milan, and then we had to get the train from Milan to Udine via Venice. So we get to Venice, and basically we had 2 minutes to spare to get from train to train because the train coming in was delayed. So we've had to try and hop over the safest parts of the train tracks to get on there. We then get to Udine. There's 1,000 Liverpool fans, more or less at the same time, turned up to the city, and only 29 taxis in the whole city. So there's scrambling to try and get a taxi. We get into a taxi. The taxi driver then says he's a Napoli fan, and we'd played them recently as well. So I thought, and we beat them, so it was sort of, well, where could this go? But then from there, we were running late to try and get back into the centre to get up to the ground, and we had to get the local transport. But obviously, again, Scouse to English to Italian to try and ask where you needed to go on the bus.
Good luck with that.
It was, but I've had many different, great experiences.
Goodness. Oh wow, man!
It's, again, I'm fortunate enough to be able to be close enough to travel to watch my team. I know Claudio's done some amazing trips to even just to be in the areas in which Liverpool fans are for big games. And again, I've been unbelievably fortunate.
Matt, you need to just learn a European language, man, because this Scouse to English thing won't work. So at least just pick up Spanish, French, or Italian, something that you can speak. Scouse or that other language, because there's no English that you speak.
I can't change the accent though. That's the problem.
French Scouse accent.
A French Scouse accent.
It doesn't bear thinking about, does it? Bonjour.
Oh, all right, guys. We might as well jump to the betting corner of our show. So, Matt, this is where we pretty much give our predictions for the coming Premier League fixtures of the weekend. And we're just going to jump straight into it. And the first game we're going to talk about is Leicester Man City. We're going to start with Rich. We're going to go Wonga, Selo, Matty, and then we're going to end off with me. And let's be as honest as we can, shall we? Let's not be biased there. Am I right, Wonga?
What? You're the one that's biased.
Guys, the most biased person is asking. But yeah, let's continue.
I'm going to go with City on this one, 2-1. Leicester have been playing some decent stuff lately, but I just can't see the machine that City is being derailed right now. They're playing so well. They just seem unstoppable. So I expect Leicester to get on the score sheet, but I would expect Man City to pick up 3 points again.
Yeah, I go with the 2-0. I don't see Leicester scoring. I think Man City are going to try and carry on their form. Yeah, I see a 2-0, and I think Leicester as well. Sometimes every time I watch them, they're not as convincing as I think they'd be as I think they would be. But yeah, that's why I think I don't think they'll get a goal in behind.
No, I think it's going to be a 1-1. I think, Leicester's been, on form. Kelechi Iheanacho, former City player, he's going to want to, prove a point. He also did well in international break for Nigeria. And I think, Soyuncu, he's obviously just come back from international break as well. I think their players, they're gelling at the right time. I thought they were going to be falling away a bit, but they seeming to be, quite strong. And obviously, I think Brendan Rodgers always tries to, prove a point. So I think it'll be a 1-1.
I'll start by saying, so the FA don't come looking, as I won't be placing any money on the betting.
No, there's no money.
Good stuff.
No.
It's banned for anyone who works at a football club. But in terms of predictions, I go. It's very close.
My bad, Matty. That was unplanned. There's no money here.
No, don't worry about it. It's just in case the FA are listening. It all depends on if Maddison plays. James Maddison's a great footballer who, again, similar to your Grealish and that, really good number 10, as has been mentioned. In Iheanacho's in really good form, and Vardy, regardless of forms, a threat and a danger in behind teams who play high lines. And I think the game will be closer than people will probably expect, but you'd still expect, City to do the business.
Yeah, I mean, on paper, City should be doing the business, but Brendan Rodgers, Matt, we know he likes showing up for the big ones from time to time, so it can cause the upset. And they won their first game this season, so I'm leaning towards what Selo was saying, a 1-1 draw. And James Maddison, is a player who feels himself, so I'm going to go with that 1-1. Next game, we're going to talk about Chelsea West Brom.
Chelsea for sure. I think by 3 clear goals. West Brom, they're pretty much down, as in my opinion, along with Sheffield United, and then it's just that final relegation spot that needs to be taken care of. But I just haven't seen enough from West Brom this season to warrant them getting a result at the Bridge. So I'm going to go 3-0 Chelsea. Tuchel likes to keep it really tight. I don't see West Brom scoring either.
Yeah, I agree with everything Richard has said. I was just going to go for 3-0. If it's not 3, probably it will be more.
Just Timo Werner not scoring, yeah? Is that
definitely him not scoring, guys. Yeah, guys, that guy he needs some muti. He needs some muti from the show. I think it's going to be a 2-0 to Chelsea. Chelsea don't score much, but they don't concede. So I think 2-0.
I'm going to be a bit controversial here, and I'm not going to say West Brom are going to win by any stretch, but Big Sam loves a good upset, and he likes to frustrate the teams who like to try and play football. And this game potentially could be 0-0, 1-1. And when I say 1-1, it's very much it's not the goal where you're going to see great football. You're going to see it could be a corner, a throw in, scrambling, goal mouth scramble, what have you. But I think there's potential for this one to be a draw. I'm Big Sam pulling a fast one.
Yeah, I can see that. Big Sam thinking, Tuchel's come in here thinking he's smart, but he's young and he's going to go, no, I can show them up. So, yeah.
He did a similar thing as West Ham manager. I remember we went to the Bridge and got a 0-0 draw, and Chelsea had 31 shots. Yeah. And we somehow managed to get a point. So, yeah, Matty, you make a good point. He does like getting a cheeky result there, so who knows.
Yeah, he can definitely do that. And also, Matt, I want to ask you, if Timo Werner had made his way to Liverpool instead of Chelsea, do you think we'd be seeing a different player right now? Do you think it's a Chelsea effect, or do you just think it's a player coping with England in general?
I think it's the league more than anything, because I think what you've got to look at is there's leagues which are just as technical as ours, but there's probably no league as physical at the moment, even though you go 10 years further back and you're looking at there's all kind you've got players like your Roy Keane, your Patrick Vieira's, Steven Gerrard who throw tackles in for fun, which nowadays you wouldn't even, the referee wouldn't think twice of throwing a card at you. But I think that's what it is. I think it's the physicality plus the ability to, and you've also got to think for the player is he's never lived outside of Germany as far as I'm aware. So is that a factor? There's loads. I think people just see the footballing factors, and is the other factors to it other than the football?
Yeah, that's true. But overall, I think my prediction there is going to be a 1-1 draw there with Chelsea West Brom. We're going to discuss the next one, the Arsenal Liverpool. That's exactly what I need. The Arsenal versus, I think it's going to be a great weekend for Liverpool. That's what I'm banking for. That's what I'm hoping for. Arsenal versus Liverpool.
Wow, this is a tough one to call. I fancy Liverpool here only because of how we cut Arsenal to pieces 2 weeks ago. They did get back in the game, fair enough, but they looked shaky at the back, and Liverpool need points. So I'm going to go with a 2-1 win to Liverpool and Sadio Mane to score.
Steven Gerrard.
Let's hear it, Matty. Let's hear it. We got Christy asking to hear it. Come on now.
It's the R's with the accent. You roll the R's. So Christy, just for you, Steven Gerrard.
Yeah.
Steven Gerrard. Steven Gerrard. Let's go one guy.
So yeah, this, like with Matt, this is difficult. Not because I support Arsenal, but I think both teams they're shaky. You don't know what to expect. And Liverpool haven't been as lethal. That's why I think we do have a chance of surviving. So I'd go for a 2-2 draw in this one.
2-2. Serious?
Yeah.
Is that your final answer?
100% final answer.
Do you want to ask a friend? Must I get you 50-50? How about we ask the audience? I don't know what's going on there, man?
You chased with the couch.
Sorry, I changed.
He's getting more intimate with us, taking us to his room. Matty, he's trying to woo you. He's trying to bring you back to South Africa. I don't know. You have good weather now.
A mate of mine just arrived, so I don't want to be telling them to keep quiet. Telling him to keep quiet. You know what I mean?
Okay. All right.
So I don't want to say. You know what I mean? So let him rather speak.
As long as they don't use your Wi-Fi, so we don't have to beatbox.
Don't worry. It's all as in my turn for prediction.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, well, yes.
I see a 2-1 victory to Liverpool. I think it's just having two Liverpool fans on the show. Yeah, it makes sense. Two against one against Wonga's one. So yeah.
That's the best football rationing. That's it. I love that rationale.
I'm not going to give any score because I don't like being the jinx. That's the problem. I think so. That's I'm clearly sitting there with that. What I'm going to say is the game could be, it could be brilliant. It could have action. It could have everything. But in the same breath, it could end up being a stay. You just don't know. There's so many, inconsistencies. And listen, I'm going to sit here. I'm confident that Liverpool can win any game, and hopefully, 10 o'clock on, Saturday evening back home in Liverpool, I'm sitting here quite an happy person because we've gained 3 more points on the top 4, and we're on our way into the Real Madrid game next week in decent form.
Yeah, no, I'm first of all, if I do put money on anything, which I'm not putting money on this game, but if I do put on anything, I go with the rationales that Selos put together, because those are always, for me, the most convincing arguments when it comes to football, because as soon as you start trying to work anything out, it becomes a nightmare. So I will say the one thing Liverpool do have going for them is the fact that they're not playing at home. So I'm going to take that into consideration. So I am leaning towards a Liverpool victory. So whether it be a 2-1 or a 1-0, that's what I'm going to say. But I also want to ask you, Matty, seeing as we are here, and I've been preaching this the whole season, how different would the season have been if the fans were allowed to be in the stadium?
Although you can't say for certain.
But for Liverpool though, how much of an impact does the crowd do have on Liverpool?
See, I think although you can't say for certain, I think our support is. I'm always going to say our support's the best about, because first of all, that support Liverpool, I work for Liverpool, and I'm also in the middle of it when I'm at the game. There's been some moments I've been at Anfield which have been unbelievable, and you could argue that the ball's been sucked in by the Kop at times. You look at Borussia Dortmund at home, you look at Barcelona, a couple of seasons back, where I was at the game at the Nou Camp, where I couldn't quite believe we'd lost 3-0, to be honest. I thought we played good football, but when you've got talents like Messi on your side, anything can happen. But at Anfield, I think it's very much, I think everybody's seen it, hear it, and hear people speak about it. It can be quite special. And there is times where you believe there's 12 on the pitch, because not just the Kop, but all 4 stands are singing and screaming, chanting, cheering, making things hostile even for away teams as well, in the nicest possible way. But again, I was fortunate enough to be in the ground as well in December, when they had November, December time, when we were allowed a small number of fans. I got a ticket for the Wolves game where we won 4-0. And I think I do think players react to atmospheres in their favour. You know what I mean? There's no better feeling if I was to sing Claudio's name now, which I'm not, because the singing voice is awful anyway. There's a smirk on his face, so same for the rest of the rest of you. If somebody's singing your name and they're behind you and they're for you and they're singing songs which relate to the team that you play for, it's only going to give you a boost.
Yeah.
But without saying for certain, I think things could be different. But I think next season, if the supporters back in the stadiums in England, I think that'll show whether we were right to say what's being said there, in terms of would the support make a difference.
Yeah. Oh, fair enough. Newcastle Spurs, guys, and I want you guys to think about this one carefully. And then I want to ask Matty, straight after you've given your prediction, do you think Newcastle will survive? Let's hear it, Rich.
Give me a sec.
No worries, Selo. So I'm going with Spurs here. Sorry, Nick, if you're watching this. I just think Newcastle. You know what? I think Callum Wilson's back. Actually, Callum Wilson might be back. So, you know what? They are fighting. They're fighting for their lives. Newcastle are fighting for their lives. They need a result. They're at home. Spurs. I mean, yeah, we brushed them aside. Standard. They haven't been amazing this season. I'm going to give Newcastle a point only because Callum Wilson's back and he's their only avenue to scoring goals. So I'm going to go 1-1.
You think Steve Bruce is going to get something out of this one? That's incredible.
Only because of Callum Wilson. That's the only reason. If he wasn't playing, no. But I'll give them a point. Spurs haven't been great away from home.
You can just hear Nick shouting, "Away the lads!" All right, Wonga, let's hear it.
I think Richard is right. It's the point where he said they're fighting for their lives. I think now it really doesn't matter whether they got Steve Bruce or Maruno or whoever coaching them. They are where they are on the table. And
that doesn't get old. It doesn't.
Matthew,
listen the way this guy says Mourinho. The way he says Mourinho is the best. Let's hear it there, Wonga. Let's hear it one more time.
So what I'm saying.
I put you on the spot there. Okay, right.
Yeah, so I'm saying, I just think that, well, I'm hoping that the guys will actually kick in and say, look, hey, we don't lose this, we're going down. And I think it means a lot of changes for everyone. And it just depends what it means to them. And I think if that really clicks into them, I think Newcastle can get away with a win or a draw. And I don't think Spurs are in the best of form at the moment. So I'd say 1-1 as well. I hope Newcastle win, though.
Way the lads.
Hello.
Bruh, I think it's going to be a 2-1 to Spurs, man. Man, guys, it's a shame, eh? Our dear beloved friend Nick. I think he might not be with us next season, guys. because it's between him and Fulham, and I rate Fulham's chances.
Yeah, I rate Fulham to stay up as well.
Well, Fulham are playing Villa this weekend. They're playing Villa this weekend. So do you guys think that's gonna?
And Brighton is gone, basically. I feel after they won 3. What is it? Was it 3-1 or 3-0? 3-1, ne? 3-0 against 3-1 against Newcastle. 3-0 against Newcastle. So I think Newcastle are gunners, guys.
But the question is, what does Matty think? What do you think there?
I think Newcastle's form plus the fact they've not had Callum Wilson for some time is it's affected them big time. And I like Newcastle as well, to be fair. Although when you do go there, I think they could be able to tell you the amount of steps you've got to go to get to the away end. No fun.
The way end is so high up. It's
I'd say you've got to take a breather halfway up. But no, I think Spurs should win the game of the weekend, especially with the talents they've got. Especially, you're looking at Harry Kane. If he turns up, he scores goals. He puts their back line, in all kinds of danger. But I'd like to think Newcastle get a result out of it. But with the form that they're in, even with Callum Wilson back, I don't really see them getting anything out the game, unfortunately. And I think the only saving grace they've sort of got at the moment, Newcastle, is the fact that Fulham have played a game extra. You know what I mean? And it's how consistent can Fulham be between now and the end of the season compared to Newcastle. But the only saving grace is the game in hand at the moment.
Yeah.
So end of the season, do they survive? Yes or no?
I want to say yeah, but I don't think so. I think Fulham could just pip them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And then also, I've got another question. Then, if that happens, do we have to get rid of our Newcastle?
Wait, guys. Last match of the season, guys. Last match of the season. Who's the last match of the season, guys?
Ooh,
Fulham against Newcastle. Fulham against Newcastle. Last match of the season, 23rd of May, guys.
At the Cottage.
At the Cottage, and the game before that, Newcastle plays Sheffield at St James's.
Wow. That's gonna be tasty. That's gonna be tasty. Wow.
And at the Cottage, it's a small field, bro. That's gonna be a tricky one. Then just gonna throw Andy Carroll on. Andy Carroll needs to play 90 minutes to just bomb that ball in the box.
A proper nice old school stadium. That's
gonna be a crazy game.
Ground.
Yeah. No, okay, all right. But then, Matty. So if Newcastle, we've got a guy here who speaks for us. His name's Nick. And if they get relegated, does he stay with our show? Or do we have to relegate him as well?
It depends what angle you want to go at. Do you want to, do you want to have a laugh at his expense? Do you want to, do you actually want to know about the championship? The other thing, do you want to get his perspective from the championship? I don't know.
42 games, championship, guys. 42 games, guys.
That's
He'll
it.
be, be hosting a few on his own before the Premier League starts and finishes.
Exactly. And a lot of midweek games in the Championship.
Yeah. That's something to think about. Man United versus Brighton there, Rich.
Brighton have actually got a few decent results on the road, but I don't expect them to get anything on this occasion. I'm going to go with a 3-1 win to Man United here.
No, I think Brighton can do something there.
Just like that.
Look,
then,
they
Taylor. Look at him. He's being
go.
philosophical there.
No, think about it. I mean, they literally trying to score goals. They're not playing and sitting at the back. And Man United they can do funny things as well. But yeah, let's say to be realistic, I'd say it's 2-1 to Man United. But Brighton can definitely get a goal there, or 2 even if they wanted to.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be a 2-0 victory. Harry Maguire's got some confidence. He scored a goal for England yesterday. So I see a 2-0 victory to Man United. Let's see. Yeah, let's see what the boys are made of. I think it was good that Greenwood and Rashford got a break. Didn't play at all for 2 weeks, which is good. Especially because they've been carrying injuries. So yeah, 2-0 to Man United.
I don't really want to give anything to Man United, not even throw-ins or corners.
For top bins, Oaks.
I think Brighton have have had some good results recently, and have sort of started to carry themselves away from the bottom three, more or less, if I'm right in saying. But you'd expect United to win even at Old Trafford, and the form's not being they've been better away from home than at Old Trafford. But
yeah,
you'd expect United to win. Although I'm going to sit here and I'm going to go 1-1.
My man, there we go.
Yeah, look, I back Wonga. I back you saying Welbeck's going to score a goal. I think it's going to happen. It's written in the stars, isn't it? So Welbeck for a goal. As much as I want to agree with you and Matt, because just like you, I don't want to be giving any corners or throw-ins or anything, but I'm going to have to say 2-1 victory to Man United after Welbeck scores the first goal. But they're going to be shell-shocked. Welbeck's going to score, but I think United are going to come through. And then the big one that's coming on Monday, the Wolves-West Ham game, Rich, your team. Can they keep pushing for the Champions League spot here against the toothless Wolves?
We certainly can. Wolves have struggled this season. We've had a good couple of weeks on the international stage. Souček's done well. Jesse Lingard's got man of the match. Declan Rice got man of the match twice for England. So the lads are looking good, full of confidence. We got a good result over them at home this season. We smacked them 4-0 at the London Stadium. So we're full of confidence. I'd expect us to win this one. We've been decent on the road. I'm going to go 2-1 win to the Hammers. And we continue our charge for the top four. Come on, lads.
Yeah, don't like admitting it, but yeah, I think West Ham definitely will take it against Wolves. I mean, for all the reasons that Richard has said, and also I think the break has also helped as well, especially with the giveaway when they gave away that 3-0 lead. I think it's good that they had a bit of an international break before that. So I'd go for 2-0 with West Ham. I think they can score from outfield and they can score off set pieces, which is why I think they'll always have an advantage over those teams.
Yeah, no, I think the Hammers got this. Yeah, I mean, Wolves it's not their season, man. They're just going to be languishing there, competing with Leeds and Arsenal for a 10th position, and Aston Villa, who can be number 10. Now, who can be number 9? I mean, sorry, number 9. So I see the Hammers winning 2-1.
I think Wolves on the day are a really good side, got really great players, Pedro Neto, Fabio Silva, if he was to click into gear, really good footballers, Neves, Moutinho, and then obviously one of our old boys in Conor Cody at the back who, he's been great for England, captained England as well recently, but West Ham are in great form, you know what I mean, and it'd be hard to look past them. I'd say, I'd love to. A Wolves on top form can beat West Ham, but West Ham in the form they're in now should win the game. I think it'll be close though. I think it'll be 1-0, 2-1. West Ham's favour. As much as I don't want that at the moment because we're sort of rivals at the moment, we've made you relevant with our form.
I think it's going to be a great weekend for Liverpool. I think West Ham won't win this game. I don't think most of the teams above us aren't. I think West Ham going to draw.
Portuguese, typical.
I was just about to say Portuguese, definitely.
Typical answer. Typical answer.
No, I just think they're playing at home. They're playing at home. A couple of the dudes went away to play for Portugal. They come back. They're buzzing now, because it's their home away from home, Wolves. So I think, they'll do it, the Portuguese guys there. So I think they'll get something. It's going to be a draw, 1-1 there, and Liverpool going to catch up. That's what it's going to be. And then it's going to build into the Champions League sort of week that's coming. And I think that's the question I have for you, Matt. Expectation versus reality for this Champions League sort of run, or what's left of it, starting at Real Madrid, and if they can progress.
I think you wouldn't be a Liverpool fan if you didn't dare to dream. And we've had many a good times. With teams who maybe you'd expect shouldn't have done it as they've done. Istanbul being case in point in the season, we had no 5. And look, Real Madrid are a good side, but have they been in the best of form this season? I don't think they have. You know what I mean? You're looking at Atletico Madrid and even Barcelona, who aren't having the greatest season either, who are a little bit further back. Expectation and reality, Liverpool have got the players to beat Real Madrid. Having said that, Real Madrid have got world-class players as well through their side, and it makes for a great game. Again, I think if you're a football person who loves the sort of romantic side of the game, is you're looking at a final which is going to be played in Istanbul. So you're looking at the stars aligning for Liverpool, or are you looking at a football sort of pessimist in a sense, and thinking that Real Madrid beat Liverpool, Real Madrid may be in a bit better form in consideration to Real Madrid beat Liverpool? I'm going to say no, because I'm a Liverpool fan. I'm a bit annoyed that I don't get the chance to go back to the Bernabeu because of the travel restrictions back home. But no, I'm still Liverpool are capable of anything. Really, I think that even now at the side we've got, Liverpool are capable of anything.
Yep. Look, I said a couple of weeks ago, I was saying it's Liverpool have every chance there is. Cedric said I was dreaming, but we've got iMitch here, or is it iTouch? My bad. iTouch. Whoa, that's a terrible name. I'm not going to say the rest of the name out loud there. It's like a bummy yank to bang a brace. Yo, that one's...
I was hoping you wouldn't say that name. Yeah, well done, Klaus.
Yeah, thank you very much. I didn't realize until I read it. For some reason, I was reading Milner. I was like, yo. No, okay, no. Okay, anyway, final thoughts, guys, before we head out.
No, thanks, Maddie, for being on the show, and all the best in terms of the work that you're doing. It's quite great that the work that you are doing, and hopefully you guys can obviously get on the field a bit more with the people instead of being on Zoom and Teams. Yeah,
thanks so much, Maddie. I really take my hat off to you for the work that you're doing at Liverpool. So yeah, keep it up, and hopefully you'll be in touch.
Definitely.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming, Maddie.
Okay,
who was that? I thought Maddie there. I was like, whoa, Maddie, wow.
No, you haven't got rid of me yet.
He really just doesn't like you. He's trying to psych you out for this weekend's game. That's what he's trying to do.
Yeah. No, man, but thanks for coming, man. And it's always good to see people, follow their dreams. And I like to hear those stories, man. So big ups to that. Hope to see you again.
I lost connection like Maddie now.
Hey, yeah.
I'm wearing off on you. No, listen, thanks for having us. It's it's nice to be able to come and speak about what you're doing, and what I do, and be able to tell people just how much I enjoy my job, and to be able to do it for the football club, especially the football club I support, unbelievable. But I think you've got to be thanked yourselves, because there's a lot of people who haven't been able to. There's a lot of people have missed that social aspect of football, haven't they? Going to the pub, going to bars, having a pint, watching the match. Myself going the game and stuff like that. It's the type of thing that you're doing now is giving people that opportunity to be able to have that that sort of round the table chat that you'd have, whether it's about, you know, your team's won, your team's lost, VAR stolen another point or 3 points again. You know, it's, you know, what you're doing, you know, big for a lot of football fans, and, you know, back where you are in South Africa. So I think you need to, you know, be given a pat on the back yourselves for doing what you do. And I've listened to a few things, don't get me wrong. I had to switch Ockies off because, you know, he talks far more than me. Now I'm only messing Ockie if you're listening. But no, as I say, thanks for having me. And understanding the accents as well, and keep doing what you're doing.
Thanks, Matty. I do have one very important last question. You spilt the beans a little bit by saying you might have brought a surprise onto the show today. And everyone else has been asking me, what's the surprise? What's the surprise? I'm not going to say what the surprise is, but chances of that happening in the future, more or less. We might as well just put you on the spot because this is live. We can't.
Yeah, you might as well. I'll keep asking the questions and see when things all die down, because obviously, you know, you're coming into the closing part of the season. There's a lot of different things which are going on, and, you know, a lot of the press stuff ramps up. So I will see if I can try and get that sorted for later on down the line for you.
Amazing.
No promises, but I'll try.
There we go. We've got it documented. Everyone heard it. He's going to keep trying. All right. That's amazing. Thank you very much, Matty. Gentlemen, thank you very much for a fantastic evening. Some great football. Let's hope the games on the weekend is just as exciting. No? Yes, maybe?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Definitely.
Except for Liverpool's game, just a win will do.
Yeah, win. I'll take a win. All right, guys. Cheers.
Cheers.
Have a
Cheers,
good one.
gents.
Well then, everyone.